It's May 24th, and the strange side of history awaits. Today, we have a celebration turned deadly in seconds, a child used in royal deception, and an astronaut surviving space only to vanish into the sea. Let's begin. On May 24th, 2001, a wedding celebration in Jerusalem turned into one of Israel's darkest disasters. Inside the Versailles wedding hall, nearly 700 guests had gathered to celebrate the marriage of Karen and Asaf Dararo. Music filled the room, and people crowded on the third floor dance floor. It looked like an ordinary wedding, but beneath their feet, the building was already failing. The hall had been built using a dangerous construction method called cowpal, with thin concrete and lightweight metal plates. Worse, walls that once helped support the floor had been removed to create a larger open space, so when the floor began to sag, temporary supports were added below, then taken away. So guests danced on the weakened structure and absorbing every step, and without warning, the center of the dance floor gave way. Hundreds of people plunged through the empty floors below into the basement. The music stopped and the celebration became full of screams, dust, and darkness. 23 people were killed and more than 380 people were injured. The disaster exposed years of neglect and changed building safety laws across Israel. A wedding night is meant to mark the beginning of a life together, but instead it became a warning carved in history. On May 24th, 1487, inside the Christ Church Cathedral in Dublin, a 10-year-old boy was crowned King of England. But he was not a king. His name was Lambert Simnel, the son of an ordinary tradesman, and he had been placed in the center of a dangerous lie. The Yorkish rebels claimed he was the young Earl of Warwick, the true heir to the throne. But the real heir was not in Ireland. He was locked away in the Tower of London by King Henry VII. Still, the crown was placed on Lambert's head, and for one strange moment, common child was treated like royalty. Nobles bowed and rebels rallied behind him. But across the sea, an invasion was preparing in his name. But the dream collapsed at the Battle of Stokefield, when Henry VII crushed the rebellion. The king could have made an example of the boy, but instead he saw the truth. Lambert had not created the plot. He had been used by men far more powerful than himself. So Henry spared him. He gave him a new place in the royal household, not on a throne, but in the kitchen. The boy, once crowned king, was put to work turning meat over an open fire. Years later, Lambert rose again, not as a king, but as a royal falconer, quietly living out one of the strangest second chances in English history. On May 24th, 1962, astronaut Scott Carpenter returned from space and then disappeared. For nearly 5 hours, Carpenter had been alone above Earth inside a tiny Mercury capsule called the Aurora 7. He was only the second American to orbit the planet, and from the outside, the mission looked like another step towards the future. But inside the capsule, things were going wrong. Important instruments began to fail, and the spacecraft's automated systems could no longer be fully trusted. Carpenter had to manually fight to line up the capsule for re-entry, knowing one mistake could send him to the wrong place. Then, on top of that, the retro rockets fired late. The Aurora 7 plunged back through the atmosphere, splashing down far from where the rescue crews were waiting, about 250 miles off course. For a while, NASA did not know where he was, and radio contact was lost. Recovery ships searched the wrong stretch of ocean, and across America, millions waited as the news reports turned grim. Some feared the astronaut had survived space, only to vanish at sea. Then, at last, the Navy plane picked up a signal. Carpenter was found alive, floating in his life raft beside his capsule. NASA officials later blamed him for the dangerous landing, even though it was later shown that the equipment fails had played a major role, and Carpenter's manual corrections may have helped save his life. He made it through orbit and re-entry, then the ocean, only to return to Earth, where he'd be blamed for surviving it in the wrong way. Another day, another strange bite from history. Like, comment, and subscribe. Your next eerie dose is just a day away.